someone is not from IIT, IIM, NIT, like how can they still build that credibility and maybe stand out in a product manager hiring?
At the top, we have only 2 skills that you need in order to excel as a PM.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see like aspiring PMs make?
Just for a tip, if you are from a sales background, then you might be good with discovery. If you are from a tech background, if you are from a, let's say, a design background, these skills are something that actually matter. Everyone is using these kind of tools. If you are not, then you are losing out. You have to use these tools. I have repeated this multiple times myself also. It's going to give you maybe a couple of lakhs of salary that you are going to get later.
Your favorite AI product right now, other than ChatGPT, Gemini, all of that? Okay, what a product.
Yeah.
Insane.
It is your choice, you have to copy paste or not. But that prompt will also take you, let's say, miles ahead. The next part that is going to put you in the top 1% is, you just have to give this prompt.
What are some of the skills that you think separates a very good PM from an average PM in 2025? In today's episode, we have with us one of the most influential product teachers of India, Mr. Ankit Shukla, the founder of HelloPM, a platform that has helped more than 2,000 people become competent product managers and has helped me as well through the thousands and thousands of free resources out there, and I'll link all of them in the description below. And in this podcast, we have done a complete deep dive into what actually is product management and talked from A to Z about what is required to actually become a great product manager. We have answered questions like how without even going to an IIT, NIT, IIM, one can still become a great product manager. How to build the most perfect product manager resume. What are the most important skills to become a competent product manager? How to stand out in these thousands of aspiring product manager resumes, and so much more. So whether you're a fresh graduate trying to break into product management or a professional trying to enter product management, this video is for you because this video has it all. So watch this video till the end because there's a challenge by Ankit Shukla and the HelloPM team. And if you complete that challenge, you will be taught by HelloPM absolutely for free. So watch this video till the end. So hi Ankit, welcome to Geeking Out with Neel.
Hello Neel, thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I think like founder of HelloPM, like you have helped more than 2,000 plus people land product roles right from Google, Facebook, Indian companies, anywhere, like all around the globe, right? And so we have seen more product managers than most people out there. So, and you have worked in product management for the last 7 to 10 years, right? So how would you define product management? What is the definition of product management for you?
Thanks a lot for having me, Neel. In order to define product management, I would say that sometimes defining something, labeling something is much more difficult than doing the actual thing. And product management is one of those. So if I have to define product management, I would say that product manager is a person who makes sure that the company is able to achieve some meaningful outcomes and it is able to help its users achieve their outcomes or maybe solve their problems. Now, in order to do this, a product manager has to do 3 things. The first part is called the discovery. Discovery means you as a product manager has to spend some time in order to understand what your customer needs, desires are. You have to understand what your competition has been doing. You have to go ahead and look for trends in the market. You have to identify those gaps where your customers are facing some kind of challenges and where there's an opportunity. Similarly, you'll also use analytics and do some, let's say, talk to your sales, marketing, customer support, maybe front-facing people who are connected with the customers in order to get some ideas. Now, this is where you find all the opportunities and then you go ahead and work with your team, brainstorm some more ideas. You can also involve some subject matter experts in order to get some ideas. And now once you're done with the discovery phase, you will have a roadmap of things that you can do in order to solve your customer problem, which is the features or the products that you can create. That is the first part, discovery. Most of the product managers, like good product managers, they spend considerable amount of time in discovery. They do not rush to next phases as soon as possible. Now the next phase is delivery. Delivery means now you have an idea. Idea are dime a dozen. So you don't have to just stick to idea. What you have to do is you have to build the idea. So how do you convert that idea into a tangible product, website, app, API, anything? Is called as delivery. So here you are going to go ahead and work with maybe your design team, your development team, your testing team in order to create the product. If you are building an AI product, then you have to involve your data science team in order to build these models and do that stuff. So here you are going to convert that idea into a tangible product. That is called as the delivery part. Here you need to learn Agile, Scrum, how to work with people and these kind of things. The third part is the distribution part. Now, many people I have seen make a mistake that they focus on discovery part. They do a lot of delivery, but they miss a very essential part, which is delivery, which is discovery. Discovery basically means how do you work with your sales, marketing, and maybe your growth team in order to take the product out in the market and make sure that you are taking some kind of efforts in order to achieve the metrics for the products. Okay. Now here what happens is that you have to collaborate with these people, and the preparation of the distribution phase actually happens in the discovery phase itself. That whenever you're thinking about an idea, you're also going to think about how do I grow this product? How do I make sure that it is helpful for the user so they are going to use it? There is inherent virality or a strong referral loop in the product. Okay. So now you are going to work with the sales and marketing team in order to build a go-to-market strategy, take the product out in the market, experiment, understand the numbers, launch the product. And once you're done with this, you will get some insights and then you will again repeat the loop. So as a product manager, you are responsible for three things. You do the discovery in order to create the roadmap and get the ideas. You do distribution, you do delivery in order to make sure that you're able to build the product, and then distribution in order to take the product to your users. And eventually, if you keep on repeating these cycles, you will understand that product management is nothing but having user empathy with your users and then doing course corrections and iterations in order to deliver what your users eventually want.
And yeah, I agree. Like distribution is something that personally I have learned much later in my product journey as well. And like I did not know anything about distribution, only focused on building. Customers are talking, building. But yeah, distribution is heavily because your business outcome, your role as a product manager is kind of dependent on that, because if you don't bring any business outcome to your business, like you have no meaning to that business, right? You are not solving anything. Your customers have
Yes,
to
yes,
use your
yes.
problem, and that is exactly what product management is.
And that's a common thing that we have seen as well. And another common thing, and which is also a very deadly mistake that people make, is people focus too much on delivery and they end up building the product right. By product right, I mean that yes, they are going to follow, let's say, every book in the world to make sure the developer are able to deliver the task as soon as possible and as precisely as possible. But they
Right.
focus too less on discovery, which is if the user does not want the product, if there is no value in the product, there is no business outcomes, then even if you go ahead and build a product up to every pixel right, then also it is not going to make a lot of meaning. So rather than focusing on, let's say, building a lot of things at once, you should focus on discovery, prioritize the hell out of your roadmap, and then make sure that you are able to build something that is actually truly viable for your business and valuable for your customers.
Correct. And I think this is something that I've seen. So I spent my last 2 months in the US working with like some of my US teammates. And like what I've realized talking with Akash and some of the other product managers is that Indian PMs or Indian startups or even companies are kind of like feature factories, is what
Yes,
they
yes.
call in the US. It's
Correct.
like all the product managers just go out there and keep on just building. Like, have you seen this in your cohort of students, cohort of people that you've talked to as well?
Yes. So some part of HelloPM's cohort, I would say about 35-40% people of HelloPM cohort are people who are already product managers. Okay. But they are struggling in their jobs. Struggling as in either they are working for a very archaic company where they are calling themselves a product manager, but maybe they are program managers or project managers. Okay. And there are some people who genuinely understand that yes, they have a lot of reflection. They are able to see and they are able to tell themselves honestly that boss, maybe I need to learn something. Okay. And there we have seen this problem very much. So what happens is that whenever we go ahead and prioritize stuff, people generally tend to, because it's easy for humans, they generally go ahead and tend to build things which are easier to get done. So what they do, easier to get done as in by the developers and designers, so they feel the least resistance. Okay. They don't focus so much on problem solving, identifying the right kind of problems, because what's easier for them is to go ahead and knock down those Jira tickets that they have created in their dashboard, right? And because of which what happens, their product actually becomes like a list of features. And what happens after maybe 6 months, 12 months, they are sitting with their managers and then they tell the manager, the boss, I have gone ahead and built these 12, 13, 14 features. And then the manager says that, boss, but where is the impact? And then they are able to understand at that period of time, which is often too late, that there have been feature factories all this long. If they could have gone ahead and maybe focused more on the impact, less features, but more impact, more user empathy, more market insights, then I think they could be at a better position. And I also think that for youngsters, I cannot blame them because that is the culture that they see. It should also come from the leadership. They should show some examples to people. They should do maybe some, let's say, some fundamental trainings around why you should go ahead and focus on building the right product rather than building the product right. And you are not being judged on the number of features that you shape or the number of tasks that you do, but let's say what are the impact that you are bringing in terms of, let's say, your well-defined metrics or maybe a North Star metric that you can give to your, let's say, your product manager.
Yeah, I think it's also a very Indian thing where the entire education system and like most of the PMs come from a developer background where you do exams, where you write tests, where you just have to do things, pick the low hanging fruits, and then you have to build. Otherwise, nobody will appreciate you. Nobody will
Yes.
think that you actually done anything. Okay, you have built one feature in 3 months. That does not matter. I built 10 features. That is, I think, mentality that has brought up upon Indians. I can't blame them, but that is how we have been brought up, right?
Yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
that also plays a very
Yeah, and what I have also seen is that's actually not very Indian thing, but actually that is from companies which are following a service-based mindset most of the time. Service-based as in even if they are building their own product, but they think that the judgment of my team is the productivity of my team is given by the number of features. Okay. And if you convert this into a developer's language, in developers world, what is happening is that people are being judged upon by the number of lines of code that they have created. Okay. And that is the same analogy that I can draw over here. Okay. So I don't think maybe particularly it's an Indian thing, but I have seen that, let's say there are many European companies as well. Okay. Where they have, let's say, they have like outsourced their work to India, and their clients are in the US or Australia or maybe other countries. And then what they do is product managers are sitting there doing all the good discovery work. Okay. And then they go ahead and give all the task optimization work, implementation of tasks to mostly the offshore teams, which could be in
right.
Europe or maybe most of the time they are also in India.
Correct. Yep. I think the service
But that has to
mentality is
change
true.
from the top. Yeah. But that has to, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
that has to change from the top, because mostly new PMs, they are going to mimic what is going to happen at the company.
Agreed. Absolutely. So like if you have seen so many people, you have transformed so many product managers into great product managers, people even from non-technical, non-A background into product managers. So what are some of the skills that you think like separates a very, very good PM from an average PM in 2025?
In terms of skill, okay, although I can tell you so many skills, but I'll try to keep it super simple and very hierarchical. What happens is, at the top, we have only two skills that you need in order to excel as a PM. The first skill is your product sense, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment. And the second skill is stakeholder management. Product sense means you have to come up with something that is going to work, which is an idea or a product or something. And then you understand that just having an idea does not matter. So you have to make sure that you are working with people such as developers, designers, because building software or building any kind of product, it's a team sport. Like no matter how much you want, you cannot do it alone. You can do the development alone, but then design, distribution, doing the partnerships and all that requires people. So you need, let's say, a lot of stakeholder management as well. Okay. Now talking about the first part, which is very, very critical and which is absolutely in your control as a product manager, is product sense. What you should do is, product sense means your ability to understand what is required by the users, and then your ability to come up with some solution that is going to solve that particular problem or desire. Product sense, I'm going to divide in two parts. The first part is user empathy. User empathy means your ability to understand the users. How do you understand the users? It's like humans. How do you understand other humans? You go ahead and talk to them. You go ahead and conduct surveys. You go ahead and understand what are the other products that they are using. So your direct and indirect competitor. And you also go ahead and maybe look at data that you have acquired by usage or maybe from some secondary or maybe third party resources. And you also go ahead and do a lot of market research. If you do this, you go ahead and create like a good image of your customers, which we also call as user persona in the very fancy language. So you just understand who are my users and what do they want, what are their desires, what their day in their life looks like. And then you go ahead and create the user journey. Let's say if they want to do a particular thing, the problem that they are facing, what does their path looks like right now? If you understand this really well, then you will understand what your users want. For example, before ChatGPT, if I have to search something, I'll go ahead and search for it on Google. Maybe first time my query would be good, it would not be good. So Google will go ahead and act accordingly. I'll maybe change query once or twice in order to go ahead and get the results. After that, the result is not over. I'll have to click on that link. If Google has been able to do a great job, first link would be good. Otherwise, I have to go to other links. And then I'll look at the information. I have to trim the information that I need. I have to go through all this information and then I'll get the results. Okay. But now what ChatGPT has done? They have gone ahead, understood the user journey, and they were able to understand why does the user has to put a lot of efforts in order to go through the search results and maybe get the required information. Okay. And why does person needs to go ahead and put the Google query again and again? If I can create an intelligent system that is able to understand the query really well and it is able to short circuit the whole loop, why wouldn't users want it? So even if you focus on the fundamental principles of faster, cheaper, better, more efficient, then I think you are going to go ahead and develop a good product sense. So I think product sense is one skill, and product sense is now divided across your user empathy, your ability to do market research, your ability to understand the data, and then your creativity. These are the four things. And then on the other side, in terms of stakeholder management, I would tell you that you have to improve your communication skills. I'm not talking about a particular language that you should know, which is English or anything, but you should know how to go ahead and put your thoughts together. And in order to put your thoughts together, you have to practice more. More than practice, you should be clear with content in your mind. Most of the people, they're not able to talk really well because the content is not very clear in their mind. So make sure that you get the clarity for yourself. And the good part to get clarity is to write often. That is the first part about communication. Second part is go ahead. You should have the ability to, let's say, understand some processes which will help you work with the team. And then it becomes very tactical, as in you should know how the agile process works, how to run right kind of retrospectives, how to do pre-mortems to make sure that you are able to align the people. And the last part I would say is leadership. You should be able to show the bigger picture to people, the vision to people, so that they are also aligned towards one goal. So I think these would be the skills which could be divided into two, let's say, major sections.
Awesome. I think that's a very comprehensive dialogue, I think, which people might want to just go on repeat and kind of see and write down. So people, keep your notepad. I think just keep on writing. This will be super useful. Yeah, I think my next would be like, let's say I'm an aspiring PM, and what I've seen, especially when I'm hiring a lot of APMs, a lot of product interns, a lot of campus interviews are going on, where the number one problem that I see when I see a person is their resume. Like, most of these people's resumes are really not up to the mark in terms of how a product manager's resumes would be. So I'm pretty sure you have seen the same when you're grooming these resumes for your cohort. So like, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see like aspiring PMs make, and how can they fix that?
Yeah. So I think resume is, I would say, the most or the highest ROI document that you can create in your life, which is the highest
Right.
return on investment. Every hour that you spend on making your resume is going to give you maybe couple of lakhs of salary that you are going to get later. So it's a very, let's say, very high ROI document. And people, if you're not putting focus on your resume, you should at least take one day out in order to look at your resume critically. At the high level, I can suggest, let's say, 3 tips. The first tip or the mistake that people make, and my tip would be, generally what people do is they write their responsibilities rather than what they have achieved. For example, if you look at a responsibility, it would say that I managed a product roadmap. I managed a team of 3 people and I was responsible for this particular thing. You are just pasting the job description. What you have done at the job. But people don't care about it. Understand? People care about what you have achieved. So I led a team of 3 developers to build a customer relationship management solution, which was able to increase the revenue of the company by this much, or these many active users, or this was the engagement, or this was the user growth. Okay. So there is a ABC framework of Google, which is what you did, the task, how it helped the company, and how you were able to measure it. What was the metric and how you were able to measure it. If you just follow this for most of the items, then you will understand what you have done. So that is the first part that will help the, let's say, the recruiter who is looking at the resume understand what you have done, and it is more about your achievement. The second mistake that people make is they don't make their job description, their resume, aligned with the job description. What I mean is that uh, they create one resume and they try to push their resume through easy apply on all of the LinkedIn or maybe Naukri.com or highest.com, maybe the job descriptions. What you need to do is, first of all, before you even look at the job description, look at your past journey, what you have done in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever your experience is. Okay. Before creating a resume, create an open-ended, ever-flowing Google Doc. Write everything that you have done in all these 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. It's like split the years in the matter of 3 months. And you'll understand that you can write maybe 2, 3, 5 pages. That's okay. After that, you look at the job description. And then you try to understand which of these sections are very important for this particular job description. Okay. Compress something and then go ahead and build a resume that aligns with the same. I have seen that somebody, let's say, there was a friend who was working with delivery for a very long period of time. He started when the delivery company was almost started, and then he left the company when it was almost IPO'd. And when he was looking for a job at a company, the company was Tehat, and it was a very, very senior role. Right now, that person is CPTO. His name is Karan. So when he was looking at, let's say, joining this particular very good company, there was a problem. Problem was that delivery has been working, his domain matter expertise was in supply chain. But Dehat was, let's say, an agri-tech company. So how do you combine? Because
Right.
everyone says that you need to have domain matter expertise. So he was able to explain himself that, boss, I have done supply chain really, really well. And then if you look at Dehat as a company, it's actually a matter of 3 things. First is it is tech. Second is supply chain. Third is your ability to understand the farmers. Okay. Yes, out of these three things, I already know two, which is supply chain, and I already know the tech part. So I am willing to go ahead and learn about, let's say, the farming part as well, because that is what I have also done in some, let's say, delivery. So then he was able to create a connect. He was able to find some common things. So if you look at your resume, if you are able to find some common things with the job description, you should be able to do. Just for a tip, if you are from a sales background, then you might be good with discovery, because sales and marketing background, you are good with discovery and distribution, because you have interacted with the customers. You understand what the customers want. If you are from a tech background, if you are from a, let's say, a design background, then you might be good with some part of discovery and most part of delivery. So try to understand, try to do a mixed match, as in these are the skills that I already have. And these are the skills that I need to learn. So that is the second part. Make your JD, make your resume more relevant to the JD. And the third is, which is like I have repeated this multiple times myself also. And this is something that is difficult to let by, which is, please make sure that your resume is not more than 1 page long, unless you have more than 10 years of experience. What happens is that I understand that, yes, you might have done some great projects. You want to include all of them, but understand, think it from a point of a recruiter. Okay. If you are not able to communicate your story very precisely in, let's say, 1 page, a relevant story, then how you are going to prioritize your roadmap as a product manager? So like prioritization is the number one skill that any product manager needs to have. Now, if a recruiter has so long 3-4 pages of resume they have to go ahead and see, they are not going to give it too much time, and then you are going to get rejected. So prioritize the stuff. You have to kill your darlings, you have to kill your good projects, and you have to let them go. You have to mention them in one line rather than a paragraph, but you have to take that call. So 3 tips just to revise. The first is, make sure that you are able to write your impact rather than just responsibilities. Second is, make it relevant to the job description. Third is, keep it shorter, like 1 page is more than enough for most of the people. And don't use, I would say, any fancy template unless you are sure about what you are doing.
Yeah, I think I loved how you like compared that to product management, where you have to kill your darling and prioritize everything and put, because that's exactly what it is. Like, I remember I could not write my only project because I had done 4 internships, and my only project was very good. I loved that project, but I had to shut it off because this internship experience was more important and more relevant for that particular job opening or anything. So,
Yes,
but
correct.
yeah,
Yeah,
you'll
and
have
one
to
more
do
thing
it.
that I would suggest everyone, that what people do is they use ChatGPT in order to build the resume. Okay. Yes, it's good, but more than building, you should be using ChatGPT to critique your resume. So whatever advice that I have given you, look at the job description, do everything that you can. After that, give it to ChatGPT and ask it to rate your resume for the particular job description that you can copy paste on a scale of 1 to 10. You just have to give this prompt. It is going to give you a score. And also it is going to give you what are the things that you can go ahead and correct. It is your choice. You have to copy paste or not. You don't have to do it, because you can go ahead and put your own mind in order to make it better. But that prompt will also take you, let's say, miles ahead.
Got it. Awesome. Yeah. And talking more about AI and aspiring PMs, I think we are seeing a trend shift right now in terms of how product managers should work and how even people should apply to product management. I think when I was applying for product management, case studies was a very big thing, right? Portfolios where you just, okay, break down and all of these things are becoming big. But right now people are actually building apps and showing this, okay, this is relevant to your product. How he let's see, I made this using Lovable, I made this using Bolt. I think I am personally seeing a lot of shift around there. So, like, what are some of these unconventional ways which people can use right now, use with the help of AI, to fast track, let's say, they're joining up, like they're becoming a product manager?
Yes. So I think that's a very cool way, I would say, because initially when we were becoming product managers, maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, these things did not existed. Okay. And because there was, let's say, not also product management was not so cool. So we were forced into a job. I've never chosen product management. I was made a product manager because the company needed it at that point of time. But right now it's a competitive field. So you have to stand out. And understand, guys, stand out only happen before once you have these skills. The issue is that people want to stand out on a very hollow foundation. That what I can do right now to become a product manager. Understand? Before you know what product management is, before you practice on your own what product management is, it's difficult to become a product manager. Even if, let's say, some company gives you an opportunity, they are either going to understand it too quickly, or either they are going to give you the work that is not exactly product management. So my advice is, before, let's say, jumping to portfolio, case study or anything, try to learn product management. And how to learn? It's also not very rocket science. Go through LinkedIn Naukri. Look at 30 job descriptions. Write all the skills that they are requiring. Don't make it 25, don't make it 28, do 30. Okay, because that will give you a repetitive understanding, and that will also give you the confidence that you are not getting skills from me or some person, but you are getting it from real job descriptions. Okay. So once you do that, create a Google spreadsheet, write down all these skills, and after some time, after 5, 10, you'll understand that the skills are repeating. That will give you more conviction that these skills are something that actually matter. After that, what you need to do is pick up a skill. Try to ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, where am I right now? For some of the things, let's say if you're a developer, you will also already know about software development lifecycle. If you're someone into strategy and consulting, you will already know about first principles most of the time and having the business sense. If you're from data, you'll understand about, let's say, data analytics and some kind of tool. So you will rate yourself accordingly. And there are going to be many skills where you are either 1 or 2, which you don't know. So my session would be, then go ahead, find some content. Either you can find some content on your own. There are multiple books. There are multiple courses that you can go ahead and do. And then try to go ahead and acquire these skills. Once you acquire these skills, then after that, the most important part happens. Understand, most of the people, although if let's say 100,000 people want to become a product manager, I can guarantee you that 99,000 people are not even going to take the step number 1, like going through 30 job listings. Okay, so your competition is not that 100,000 people, but only now these 1,000 people who are with you in this journey. Now, the next step that you need to do is just go ahead and try to acquire these skills. Once you have acquired these skills, the next part that is going to put you in the top 1% is practice these skills, which is, if you learn about product sense, that this is how I identify the user problems, this is how I go ahead and conduct surveys, this is how I go ahead and decide metrics, okay? Go ahead and try to practice these. Practice by doing some case studies, picking some problem statements, observing the products that you daily use, okay? That will help you create case studies. And initially, you should be focusing on number of case studies, okay? Make it a number, let's say 5 or 7 I have to do before I could go ahead and take a look back. Once you do, let's say 5 or 7 case studies, you do a lot of reflection, and the case studies are very simple. How would you improve your favorite product? How would you improve a product that you have not used? How would you improve a product for whom you are not a user? How would you improve your favorite product? How would you go ahead and improve a very popular product right now? If you take these 5, 7 case studies, that is more than enough for you to build a initial sense. Once you go ahead and do this, you will understand that you are now understanding things, because most of the learning is course correction. I can teach you all the things in the world. I can give you all the skills, but unless you are getting your hands dirty, you'll not be able to do this. And that is also the pedagogy that we follow at HelloPM. We throw you out in the water in order to help you. So even then we help you out. So then you go ahead and understand, build that product sense. After that, you pick some interesting product or some serious projects that, yes, I'm going to do this, maybe end to end. Okay. And also understand, this is also a very big mistake that people make. If you go ahead and tell Lovable or any AI tool that help me create a clone of Airbnb or help me create a messaging app, and if you build that with AI and if you show it in your portfolio, don't think that people are going to give you a job. Because understand, your job as a product manager was never to give a prompt to AI or just build products. Delivery is the part that you don't have to focus on much. That is an added advantage. You have to focus on discovery. So what are the ideas that you are giving? How have you validated those ideas? Whether there is a need or not. So people, if I'm interviewing someone who's showing me a portfolio where they have projects, I'm going to ask them the product specific question. Like, what do you think is a problem that you're solving here? How do you think that's a problem? How do you measure the efficiency of the solutions? Rather than talking about the UI and the UX part, because that matters, but it matters in the end. I'm not hiring you for those skills. I already have designers and developers for that particular part. So if you go ahead and, in that sense, if you go ahead and build a strong portfolio, understand what used to happen maybe 2 years ago was, people were building portfolios, but with, let's say, hypothetical products, they can only create slide decks. But right now, you have the power to build end-to-end product. Okay, so use that, do proper research, do right product discovery. That is your core skill as a product manager. Just to show people that you are also very hands-on and you go ahead and do not miss that last mile thing. You also go ahead and use these tools in order to build a product. After that, if you have already built a product, my suggestion would be, rather than keeping it in a prototype phase, try to give it to some of your friends so that you start collecting some data, some analytics, and then you course correct. I'm again repeating, all the learning is course correction. Okay. And when we are interviewing people who are hustlers, who really want to go ahead and do something, like hungry people. So whenever, let's say, if I'm hiring someone who is not from a, let's say, a very top college, I need to understand, let's say, whether they have that hunger or not, whether they have that curiosity or not. And then curiosity can only be understood if they have course corrected themselves. So if you go ahead and just build a product, launch it, get some data, then iterate based on the same, that shows me that yes, you have the hustle, you will be able to do product management. So that is something. And the last part, let's say I've seen people, they create case studies, portfolio, they send it to the companies, but companies don't have time. Like product managers don't have time to look at their resume and then maybe or their portfolios, because it takes some time in order to understand that. Then my ultimate advice for people is, and this has worked for almost everyone that I have advised and everyone who has followed this advice to the nth, is go ahead, create a list of about 20 companies. These companies should be something that should not be as big as Facebook and not as small as 2 or 3 people team. It should be a good mid-sized company or maybe a startup where you have certain kind of reason to apply, which is either your interest aligns or you know something about the company or someone knows you in the company, like these kind of companies. Then you go ahead, once you are passionate about this company, genuinely interested in the company, go ahead, pick up these companies one by one and assume that if you were a product manager at that company, what would you do in your first 6 months? If you can, now you have done your portfolio, you have done the case studies, you have done the practice, now you are in a position to answer this question really well. Okay, you will use secondary data, talk to their users, look at computers, do so many things that I don't need to teach you, that you will figure out by yourself. Then you create something, maybe a case study, a small project, or something for the company that will take 1 to 3 days to develop, and send it to these companies one by one. And make sure when you send it to the leadership as well and some people that you know as well, and follow up at least 3 times in 10 days. Okay. But don't wait for the reply. Do it for 20 people. Okay. That will first create a very strong portfolio for yourself because you're already doing this work. And I can assure you, if you do this with 20 people for good enough companies, many companies are going to give you a reply because it shows people that this person has these skills. It is crystal clear in your case study. Second is, you are taking the ownership. You are actually very motivated to go ahead and maybe do all of this tasks for yourself. Otherwise, if you apply as a fresher to any company, they will anyways give you an assignment. So you are doing it proactively. And the third part is that you are particularly interested in that company. You will never see an entrepreneur who does not get a smile on his face when you talk good about their company, or maybe when they see someone who is as passionate about about their company as they are. So they are definitely going to go ahead and give you a call. And we have seen, let's say, a lot of people, lot of, I would say, interesting stories, very motivational stories that have come at HelloPM from our students, like very different background, let's say sales or psychology or arts or customer support. When they were able to become a product manager, they have applied exactly the same process by reaching out to multiple companies and doing something for them. So that would be my long but hard to do advice.
Yep, I think completely agree. So Samarjit from HelloPM reached out to me via cold email. That's how we got the job. And
Yes.
I remember telling this to Akash as well. So I was just going through Twitter when I saw this post by someone about Zepto. So that guy got into the delivery partner, became a delivery partner for 7 days, figured out the entire backend delivery part of the app and what you could fix in
Yes.
that, and then mailed it to Adit Palicha and the founders,
Correct, correct,
and he
correct,
got an
correct.
internship there.
Right, right, right. So one person also did it for, I think, Blinkit, and he messaged me after that. And then his tweet, I think, was liked and replied, and maybe he also got to talk to
Right,
Albinder from Blinkit.
right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and also and I could feel that in one of our assignments, like at HelloPM, we have given people how would you improve Swiggy. A general thing that people would do is they would go ahead and figure out the B2C part, like part that we are using. But this guy, what he did was, he was at a hostel in his college, and then he actually talked to the delivery people. So he focused on the other part, which is what is going to be the B2B part of the same, which is how do I make sure that delivery people are having the best experience. So that is something that he thought out of the box, actually worked in afternoons in order to talk to these people, wait for the delivery, made some order by himself in order to understand what are the problems that they are facing. And this is, guys, not everyone is doing. If Aditya Palicha is receiving so many recommendations around Repto, most of them are just on the B2C app, which everyone is using. You have to do something, stand apart, you have to show your efforts. And then what this person did was, he actually became a delivery guy. Or I think I also know someone who actually have visited all the dark stores in order to understand
Right.
how he can
Exactly.
optimize. Yes.
Yep. I think these are some like really like over the top going things which will actually like another thing that I say a lot is founders are always hiring. Like
Yes.
even though the company does not have money, they are not hiring, they don't care. But if you connect to the founder, if they feel that you're correct, you're the right person, they will hire you.
Correct, 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 right. And also, I'll tell you that take this all like a game of cricket or a game of football that you love. Rather than, let's say, when you're like playing a game that you're very passionate about, you don't look at the score most of the times. What you look at it, maybe are you enjoying the play, and maybe are you playing with your friends? You are in the moment, you are playing that. Similarly, if actually product management is your call, then I think you will not have issues such as maybe whether this person is going to go ahead and reply me or not, because you are going ahead and acting on the process. And also understand that if you go through this laborious process of building things for people, doing the research, doing the case studies and all, no matter if you end up at that company or not, if you end up at any other company, this information, this hustle, this grit, this course correction that you have done has become your own asset. The knowledge that you have gained has become your own asset. And I'm sure that whenever you go, you are going to utilize this in some of the other. That will become your hard-earned knowledge.
Right. Absolutely. Like, I think let's talk about the elephant in the room. So, which is like AI product management. So, there's a lot of hype about AI product management happening. Everybody's talking about AI agents. Like, so can you just tell me, like, what is this hype about? And like, people are also worried that this will take away a lot of jobs. So, like, do you think AI will kill more PM jobs or like create new ones?
So although first of all, I'll make a disclaimer that it's impossible for human beings to do any kind of forecasting. Okay. The only
Of
thing that
course.
humans can forecast is that they cannot forecast. So with
Yes.
that pinch of salt, I would go ahead and maybe tell you what I want to say. So the first part is, how should you as a PM approach AI product management? Whenever a new piece of technology comes, people do two things. One is right and one is wrong. The wrong part is that you look at the technology and then you try to retrofit it. That what is it that I can go ahead and maybe do with the technology? And then if you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. And then people spend a lot of budgets, and that is how many mistakes have been done. The second approach is, you go ahead, whatever you are doing, let's say you have some customers. You are already, let's say, working on an idea or something. You have some customers, or let's say you have a new idea. You first start with the users or customers or the market needs. Amazon likes to call it working backwards. So you look at the customers and your users and you try to understand their journeys. You do the user discovery in the normal fashion to understand what are the gaps that I can fulfill. Okay. And then you go ahead and create a list of these things, that yes, these are the problems I have prioritized a list, and these are the problems that my people are facing. After you have understood that, then you should go ahead, like in order to understand what AI can do for you, you should go ahead and go to this website called as OpenAI or Microsoft Azure or Amazon SageMaker or maybe Google's Vertex. You search for Google Vertex customer stories or case studies, or you search for OpenAI customer stories. You will be able to find a page on their website where they have written that how different kind of companies are using their technologies, right? That will give you a bucket list of what is possible with AI, right? Once you understand what possible with AI, that's the second part. First, you've already understood what is useful for your users.
Very
Now
interesting.
you have to do that matching. Now, one thing, please don't try to solve all the problems with AI, because that is not required. Some apps are very good even if they are a basic create, update, delete app, right? So let's say Flipkart, when it started, it did not need AI. It has already, let's say, a 50, 70 billion that they are asking for in the public market. That's a variation, big company, and that has happened without AI. So you don't need all the problem to be solved by AI. Understand where AI can go ahead and give efficiency, better cost, better, let's say, experience to the user. Then you have to go ahead and implement AI. So that is the first part, how you should think about AI. And then you can go ahead and move about the usable part of AI. So you have understood AI is valuable. There are some problems, there are some solutions, how you can go ahead and mix match them. That is the first part. And don't just make AI your only tool. There are other things as well. The second thing that you need to do is make sure, understand how you are going to make AI usable by removing multiple apprehensions. Apprehensions as in, one apprehension people have is, AI is very indeterministic. Like it can give any kind of output, you cannot control it. Second is, AI hallucinates. So it can go ahead and give you very wrong answers with a lot of confidence. Third is how you put your context to AI. For example, ChatGPT is very helpful for me, but if I ask ChatGPT, what are my meetings that I need to do tomorrow, it will not be able to answer because it is not connected to Google Calendar. But if Google Calendar has an AI, it will be able to answer this question. So if Google Calendar has to build this product, they have to give context of my calendar to AI. So understand, like a very simple term is RAG, retrieval augment and generation. If you just learn about this RAG, you should be able to understand how to contextualize this. This is one of the keywords. Second is, you have to learn how to use evaluations. Evaluations is that AI hallucinates, AI goes ahead and gives you indeterministic output. The structure sometimes is all out of the place. And you are not getting the results that you want. It has biases and all. So you can learn to write evaluations in order to do this. If you want to understand on it of these things in detail, I've created like a very detailed video, but I'll attach in the description. So that is the second part, which is how do you make AI usable? And then comes the third part, which is feasible. So what the problem is, most of the people jump to feasibility. They start understanding what is machine learning, what is vector-based databases, how do I go ahead and maybe train a model. They focus on all of these things. Understand? There are people who are more educated, more eligible than you to do this job, which are data scientists and the engineering team. But sadly, these people do not talk about the valuable part, the viability of the business, the usability part. So you have to understand what is the role that you are playing. If you start from there and then you go ahead and build up your knowledge slowly with feasibility, I think you can become a good product manager, because no matter today, tomorrow, yesterday, or maybe 1,000 years from today, the job of a product manager is very simple. Help the business achieve its outcome, help the user solve their problems with any of the product, tangible or intangible, that you are creating. Okay. Creation can be done with your stakeholders, or it can be done with AI. Today, your developers are going ahead and you are talking with your developers. Tomorrow, you will talk with an AI. But as long as you are solving for the valuable part, you are giving value to the customers, I think product managers are going to be very much in need in the future as well. The number of product managers might reduce because there is a lot of efficiency that is coming. But I think the whole money that is being flowing into product management, that will only increase, because with so much competition, everyone is able to create tools. The difference is in only how your product is more available, how you are able to better distribute your product. And that comes from product management.
Right. And I think I was talking to this Google PM as well. So he's working in the ads industry, and he told a very interesting caveat here where, like, think of AI as three different things. Whereas one is the model layer, second is the infrastructure layer, and third is the application layer. Decide where you want to play in this as a product manager. So if you're an OpenAI based company, you're building models, you have to be technical, you have to understand how AI works. In the infrastructure, thorough both, but you'll have to know. In the application layer, you don't really have to know how the model works, but have to actually put yourself in the customer shoes and
Correct, correct,
try
correct.
to
So
derive.
yeah, right. So I also divide this into three parts. So AI PMs are divided in three parts. The first part is you are let's say a AI enabled PM, where you are using daily tools such as ChatGPT, Craftful, Notebook LM, or other tools in order to make yourself more efficient. 100% of PMs are AI PMs in this particular way, because everyone is using these kind of tools. If you are not, then you are losing out. You have to use these tools. Second part is people who are, let's say, PMs or core AI PMs. Core AI PMs as in who are working on the models, who are working on the infrastructure, who are, let's say, building tools such as SageMaker, Vertex AI, working on the models and all. They need to be technical. And the third part is people who are applied AI PMs. Now they understand what the whole AI infrastructure, whole AI market, whole AI need is. Now they are helping their users solve their problems more efficiently with these AI tools. So I think that is also like the similar kind of differentiation that I have also done.
Nice. Nice. So, and like, so you've been in product management for the last 10 years, and I think you've seen this boom of AI PM in the last couple of years as well. So, in your words, like, how do you think product management has changed over these years? You mentioned that you did not choose to become a product manager, right? You were forced to become one. Like, and how has that changed over the, like, in the last 10 years? I think in 2014, 15, people were barely product managers, right? It was not needed. Somewhere it was needed. It was not a well-defined role. So if you could say, like, how it has changed over the last 10 years.
Yes. I'll tell you, like, look, let's go back to, let's say, economics for a moment. You can understand the world has evolved a lot in the last 10 years. In the 2014, 2015, India was having very few number of companies which are actually good for $1 billion valuation. I don't think there were any, let's say, meaningful number of unicorns. Funding was not there. People were not very, let's say, good about, like, very fortunate or very purposeful about the the market that is upcoming. And same thing was happening with the world. Okay. But after that, what happened was that the consumerism has arisen. And understand, every business, no matter what kind of business that you take in the world, like small business or a large business, it only works on one fundamental equation. The equation is, as a business, you have to create value for the customer. And in return, if the customer finds that thing to be really valuable, they are going to reciprocate it in terms of either money, they are going to give you money, or they are going to give you attention in the case of Facebook, Instagram, or ad-based models. Now, what has happened is, as a product manager, your purpose is to understand the most important stakeholder. which is the customers. Now, in the last few years, what has happened is the consumerism has increased, the competition has increased, more money has flown in the products, equity markets have risen. And then what happens? The person who is actually responsible for creating the products which are valuable is at the center point. So now people are more and more understanding the value of product managers. Initially, what used to happen was there were product managers, but they were not called so. Either there would be someone who is, let's say, leading the strategy, or someone who was a brand manager, or someone who was a category manager, or someone who is the CEO himself who was going ahead and acting as a product manager. Sometimes I've also seen the business analyst was doing the work of correcting the customer requirements and all. Now people have organized this much, and that also we have seen from the West. Like Google started, Facebook started, other companies started these APM programs and PM programs. That is how we have seen that it has came. So now people understand that yes, there is someone in the company who is going to build the product, which is code the product. There is someone who is in the company who is going to design the product. There is someone in the company who is going to sell the product, market the product. But over and above all of this, there has to be someone who actually makes sure that yes, even if this product is needed or not, whether everyone is on the same page or not. So as the products are becoming complex, the need of a product manager is increasing, because otherwise you will lose the customer context. And if you lose a customer context, your product has failed even before you have gone ahead and launched. So I think that has changed. Product have become more complex. There are more user journeys, and that is why we need more PMs. Initially, there were not a lot of data points. User interviews might be enough, or people were relying more on their hypothesis and thesis in order to build the products. Now we have more data. Now we have so many signals coming from multiple places, so PM might have more data. And now, more than ever, we have more need of differentiation. So I think strategic PMs are also evolving these days. So that would be my conclusion, that PMs are evolving because there is a need. Rise in consumerism, you have to be a customer-centric person out there, which was not filled by any other people in the room in any kind of company. And the second part is in terms of evolution, it has evolved. It has evolved a lot. In the future, it is also going to evolve. And I believe that with AI, what will happen is that your rate of experimentation, because initially the major job of a product manager was to do a lot of prioritization, because coding time, design time was very precious for you. So you have to only give the work that is right. You don't have to become a feature factory. Now what can happen is that people can just use these AI tools in order to go ahead and build a lot of products. Similarly, initially PMs are only relying on their own ideas. Now they can get a list of ideas from users and markets and everything that they are already doing. One more fallback that they have is also AI. So they have, let's say, more number of ideas, and also they can run multiple simulations in an AI chatbot or in an AI agent before even launching it to the customers. So I think that is how the industry has been evolving.
Awesome. Right. And another question, like again, going back to the aspiring PMs topic, like what I've seen a lot, like particularly from the time I passed out from IIT and I started making videos, a lot of people say that, "Bhai, aap to, you're from IIT, you don't know the pain that we are facing."
Right.
So like let's tackle this problem. So like if someone is not from IIT, IIM, NIT, they don't have MBA, they're from a bachelor's degree, normal engineering or normal sales or any other background, like how can they still build that credibility and maybe stand out in a product manager hiring?
Right, correct. So I'll maybe switch to Hindi for this one, because I think that will connect more with people.
Yep,
तो
yep, yep,
बस यहाँ पे
एकदम.
क्या बात है ना, कि दो चीज़ों से आप कुछ कर सकते हो, या तो अपने नाम से या फिर अपने काम से। अब आप ये समझो, किसी बंदे ने अगर आईटी किया है, तो काम तो उसने भी किया है, बट लेकिन 11th-12th में उसने ज़्यादा पढ़ाई की थी, तो इसलिए वो डिज़र्व करता था वो पर्टिकुलर सीट। मे बी आपने कम की, या फिर उतनी जितनी नहीं करी, या फिर शायद उस समय उसका आपका उस समय लक नहीं था। तो काम तो मतलब नेचर आपसे करवा देगा। अब आप चाहे वो अब करो या बाद में करो, या फिर आप कभी नहीं करोगे, तो आपको रिज़ल्ट नहीं मिलेगा। तो अभी टाइम है आपका कि जो बंदे ने 11th-12th में पढ़ाई कर ली, उसको कुछ क्रेडिबिलिटी तो डेफिनिटली मतलब इंडस्ट्री देगी ही देगी, बिकॉज़ उसने हार्ड वर्क किया है। ही इज़ अ पर्सन हू कैन फॉलो द प्रोसेस, हू कैन थिंक क्रिएटिवली, बिकॉज़ ही इज़ अ हार्ड वर्कर। उसने अर्न की है वो चीज़, ओके। आपको अर्न करना है, तो आपको भी उसका प्राइस पे करना पड़ेगा, और वो प्राइस होता है आपकी मेहनत, आपका काम। काम आपको क्या करना है, ऐसा नहीं कि आपको कोई मतलब लेट्स से कि ऐसा काम करना है जो आपको अच्छा नहीं लगता। पहले तो क्या करना है कि लाइक बिफोर यू इवन गेट इनटू पीएम, आप थोड़ी-सी ना अंडरस्टैंडिंग ले लो प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट की क्या होता है। ऐसे मत जाओ कि यार मेरा एक दोस्त पीएम है, वो अच्छी सैलरी कमाता है, तो मैं भी चला जाता हूँ। या फिर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि यार मुझे अभी की जॉब, आई हेट दैट पर्टिकुलर जॉब, तो मुझे पीएम में चला जाना चाहिए, ओके। हेटिंग समथिंग इज़ नॉट अ गुड रीज़न टू लविंग समथिंग एल्स। यू आर गेटिंग योरसेल्फ फ्रॉम वन टॉक्सिक रिलेशनशिप टू अनदर टॉक्सिक रिलेशनशिप। तो आपको सिंपल क्या करना है कि जो मैंने इनिशियली बोला था कि 30 जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर के देखो और उसको एकदम मतलब बहुत अच्छे से समझ जाओ कि यार ये मांगते हैं, ये है मेरा सिलेबस। एक पेपर पेन लो और उस पे सब कुछ लिख लो कि यार ये सारी चीज़ें लोग मांगते हैं। एक बड़ा-सा चार्ट पेपर लो, उस पे पेन से सब सारी चीज़ें लिख लो, तुम्हें स्किल्स पता चल जाएँगी, यार ये स्किल्स होती है। अब उसके बाद एक-एक करके, अब तुम जीपीटी का यूज़ करो या कोई कोर्स करो या गूगल पे जाओ, एक-एक करके इन स्किल्स को टैकल करना शुरू करो। और टैकल ऐसे करो कि पहले तो तुमने उसके बारे में पढ़ लिया, उसके बारे में खुद से उसका क्विज़ करो। जीपीटी को बोलो कि भाई मैंने अब ये चीज़ पढ़ ली है, नाउ यू गो अहेड एंड असेस माय नॉलेज, इट इज़ गोइंग टू आस्क यू फ्यू क्वेश्चन्स। ये दूसरी चीज़ हो गई, आपको थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा। तीसरा, उस स्किल पे कुछ काम करो। जैसे कि हमने सीख लिया यार डेटा एनालिसिस में फनल ऐसे करते हैं। तो अब आपकी ज़िम्मेदारी है भाई मिक्स पैनल पे जाओ और उससे भी पहले एक छोटी-सी अपनी कोई वेबसाइट बना लो, ऐप बना लो। इतने सारे लवेबल है, बहुत सारी चीज़ें आप बना सकते हो, ओके। उसमें थोड़ा देखो यार कि इसमें अगर मैं मिक्स पैनल लगाऊँगा और ट्रैक करूँगा तो कैसे हो सकता है? या फिर जो प्रोडक्ट आप रोज़ यूज़ करते हो, आप गूगल मैप यूज़ करते हो, समझो उसमें कि यार वहाँ का पीएम कौन-सी मैट्रिक्स मेज़र करता होगा, ओके। केस स्टडीज़ के बारे में सर्च करो इंटरनेट पे, हमारी वेबसाइट पे भी काफ़ी सारी केस स्टडीज़ चली हुई हैं। आप केस स्टडीज़ देखो, समझो उसको। तो इसमें जब आप एक्टिव लर्निंग करोगे, अंडरस्टैंड, अगर आपको 100 घंटे देने हैं लर्निंग करने, सिर्फ़ आपके 20 घंटे आपका कंटेंट पढ़ने में और सेकेंडरी सोर्सेज़ को कंज़्यूम करने में जाना चाहिए। 80 घंटे आपके करने में ही जाना चाहिए। गेट योर हैंड्स डर्टी बिकॉज़ आई एम अगेन रिपीटिंग, ऑल द लर्निंग इज़ कोर्स करेक्शन। यू डू अ मिस्टेक, यू आइडेंटिफाई, यू रिफ्लेक्ट। आपको रिफ्लेक्शन बहुत ज़्यादा करना है। अब ये कर रहे हो तो आपकी पूरी सब कुछ मतलब आपका सेट है। आपको पूरा कॉन्फिडेंस है। मतलब आपको ये फ़ील आनी चाहिए कि भाई अब अगर मैं प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर नहीं बना ना, तो कंपनी का नुकसान है जो उसने मुझे नहीं दिया। इतना कॉन्फिडेंस आ जाना चाहिए आपके पास। उसके बाद सिंपली आपको क्या करना है कि अपना एक जो पोर्टफोलियो का मैंने बताया था वो बना लो। मैं एक गाइड भी डाल दूँगा डिस्क्रिप्शन में, नील को बोल के। इसके बाद आपको क्या करना है, ये आपने पोर्टफोलियो वगैरह सब बना दिया। इसमें लगना चाहिए आपको 1.5-2 महीने का समय। मतलब सही से समय देना, रश इन मत करना। अंडरस्टैंड, अगर आप ये वीडियो को देख रहे हो और आप मतलब नील के ऑडियंस हो, तो आई बिलीव कि आप 22 से लेके 30 साल तक के होगे। अभी आपका बॉस 50 मोर देन 50% करियर आपका बचा है। अगर आपने 20 में स्टार्ट किया तो आई वुड से मोर देन 60-70% आपका करियर बचा है। तो अगर आपके 2% 1% आपको भी इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ रहा है 6 महीने 8 महीने, तो इट्स नॉट दैट मच। वो आपको ज़िंदगी भर के लिए कॉन्फिडेंस देगा वो। तो उसको आप देखो, उसको समझो, मतलब मेहनत करने के लिए हमेशा रेडी रहो। उसके बाद क्या करो कि कंपनी को चूज़ करो। आप 20 कंपनी को चूज़ करो, जहाँ पे आपको लगता है कि यार आपके थोड़े से चांसेस ज़्यादा हैं बिकॉज़ यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट दैट इंडस्ट्री। आप शायद किसी को जानते हो या दे आर हायरिंग या कुछ मतलब कुछ ऐसा रीज़न हो कि आपको लगे कि हाँ भाई ये है। अगर आपको फिर भी कोई मतलब आइडिया नहीं है, तो सीधा भाई नौकरी पे जाओ, इंटर्नशाला पे जाओ, आप लिंक्डइन पे जाओ, आप एक ycombinator.com/companies पे जाओ, वहाँ पे हायरिंग का फ़िल्टर फ़िल्टर लगा दो, सारी कंपनियाँ मिल जाएँगी। तो इसमें से आपको 20 कंपनी ढूँढनी है। एक-एक करके अब अज़्यूम करो कि बॉस अगर मैं ही होता इस कंपनी में प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर तो मैं क्या करता पहले 6 महीने? कहानी पूरी रिपीट करो, लिखो उसको, भेजो, मेहनत करो। मतलब शुरू में तो बोलूँगा 1 हफ्ता भी अगर ला रहे हो केस स्टडी पे तो करो। इट इज़ बिकमिंग योर एसेट, ये आपका ही एसेट है। आगे आपके केस स्टडीज़ दिखाने में हेल्प आएगी इन केस अगर कंपनी रिप्लाई भी नहीं करती है तो। आप उनको रीच आउट करो। अगर बॉस इसके बाद भी नहीं होता है, दैट ओनली मीन्स कि आप अपनी केस स्टडीज़ में ही बहुत ज़्यादा गलती कर रहे हो। ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि आप सही से किसी को भेजो 20 लोगों को और उसमें से कोई भी आपको रिप्लाई ना करे, ओके। मेरे पास ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स थे जो एकदम ही मतलब आप समझो कि अभी आई थिंक आई कैन गिव एन एग्जांपल ऑफ समर आल्सो कि समर वाज़ फ्रॉम अ सेल्स बैकग्राउंड और आई थिंक ही वाज़ लुकिंग फॉर अ जॉब फॉर ऑलमोस्ट 6, 7, 8 मंथ्स बिफोर ही गो एंड जॉइन्ड हेलोपीएम, ओके। वो बंदा सेल्स से था, बट उसने हमारे साथ रह के एपीआई प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट ये वो पूरा मतलब सीखा। उसने बहुत सारी केस स्टडीज़ करी। ही वाज़ बगिंग अस ऑल द टाइम्स, मतलब ही वाज़ टेकिंग दैट स्टेप एंड वी वर आल्सो हैप्पी कि यार बंदा मतलब कुछ करना चाहता है, मेहनत करेंगे तो हम भी वी वर विलिंग टू गो अहेड एंड वर्क विथ हिम इवन लेट नाइट्स। और उसने वो किया एंड देन ही एंड अप बिकमिंग एन लाइक एन एआई प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर इवन आफ्टर कमिंग फ्रॉम सेल्स। तो अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आईटी-वाईटी आपका मिस हो गया, तो बॉस इससे आपको पता है क्यों मिस हुआ था? क्योंकि आपने मेहनत नहीं करी। तो वो मेहनत अगर आज कर लोगे, तो आई कैन अश्योर यू कि वो हो जाएगा। इसके बाद भी नहीं होता, आपने सब अच्छा किया, नहीं किया, तो आप 20 कंपनी का जो आपने किया था, आप सब कुछ बना के मुझे ईमेल करो ankit@hellopm.co। मैं आपको फ्री में सिखाऊँगा, मतलब कोर्स वोर्स भूल जाओ, मैं आपको फ्री में सिखाऊँगा भाई ये सब चीज़ें कैसे करनी है। बट वही है कि मुझे ये भी नहीं कि तुम चैट जीपीटी से जनरेट करके दे दो, दैट आई विल अंडरस्टैंड। तो अगर वो 20 करके मुझे भेजोगे, अगर कंपनी रिप्लाई नहीं करती है, आई विल टेल यू कि क्या मिस्टेक आप मेक कर रहे हो, देन इट इज़ माय रिस्पांसिबिलिटी टू हेल्प यू आउट इवन विदाउट
I'll put this up as a challenge in
यस,
LinkedIn.
यस।
ये रील बना के I'll put this up as a challenge.
राइट, 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 राइट।
Done. Awesome. I think this was great. काफ़ी बढ़िया ये। एंड आई थिंक वही मेरे को भी ये लगता है कि कभी ना कभी तो आपको मेहनत करना पड़ेगा, लाइक एट सम पॉइंट और द अदर। मैंने क्लास 11 में कोई और कॉलेज में किया है, फर्स्ट सेकंड ईयर में, कोई थर्ड फोर्थ ईयर में किया है, कोई नौकरी लगने के बाद किया है, बट यू हैव टू डू एट सम पॉइंट और द अदर।
करेक्ट 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 राइट। और मेहनत इज लाइक इट क्विकली बिकम्स अ हैबिट। कि क्या होता है, जब आप ना जितनी जल्दी आपने मेहनत करना शुरू किया लाइफ में, उतनी ज्यादा जल्दी आपकी लाइफ ज्यादा सेट हो। अनलेस लेट्स से बहुत सारे डिस्ट्रैक्शंस तो होते ही हैं, बट आई थिंक एक बार बंदे ने मेहनत के साथ चख लिया कि भाई मेहनत करना है, तो बहुत सारे बंदे मैंने ऐसा देखा है कि वो आउटकम के बारे में फिर ज्यादा केयर नहीं करते। लेट्स से इवन इफ यू लुक एट लेट्स से मेनी आईटीएंस और पीपल हु आर इन आईएम्स एंड मे बी हु आर एट प्लेसेस जहाँ पे मेहनत लगती है जाने में, उनको आप देखोगे मे बी वो स्टडीज में इतनी मेहनत नहीं कर रहे होंगे, बट जो भी वो पिकअप कर रहे हैं वहां पे कुछ ना कुछ तो वो अलग करने की मतलब कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि यार मैं इसमें लग के मतलब आई एम गोइंग टू गो अहेड एंड मे बी कंप्लीटली गो मैड एट दिस पर्टिकुलर थिंग। तो वो मैडनेस आपको लानी पड़ेगी, बिकॉज यार यू ओनली हैव गॉट वन लाइफ। वो भी आप चीज आधी करोगे अधूरी करोगे, इट डजंट मैटर। जाओ तो फिर आप उसमें पूरा जाओ, पीछे का छोड़ दो। बिकॉज और हाँ, एक और इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो आई थिंक आई मिस्ड, बस प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट का सबसे बड़ा फायदा यह है कि अगर आपने प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट सीख लिया, तो फिर जो काफी सारी और भी जॉब्स होती है, कंसल्टिंग, बिजनेस एनालिस्ट, प्रोडक्ट ओनर, प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर, प्रोग्राम मैनेजर, फाउंडर्स ऑफिस, मतलब ऑलमोस्ट 50 तरह की जॉब्स है जिनके लिए आप मोर एलिजिबल देन अदर्स। तो ये मतलब आप ये समझो कि आपने मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ ली, एबीसीडी पढ़ ली, आपको अच्छे से आ गई, तो आपको स्पेलिंग भी यहीं से बनाओगे, आप मैथ्स भी यहीं से करोगे, सब कुछ आप यहीं से करोगे। तो आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी कोर स्किल। और आजकल आप देखोगे कि इफ यू आर टॉकिंग टू एनी लेट्स से एनी पर्सन हु इज शार्प इनफ हु हैव अचीव्ड समथिंग इन देयर लाइफ, उनको पता नहीं होगा कि उनको प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट आता है, बट इफ यू आस्क देम सम काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस यू विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट दे आल्सो ब्रिंग द सेम पर्सपेक्टिव। सो आई थिंक प्रोडक्ट मैनेजमेंट इज मोर ऑफ अ लाइफ स्किल इन दिस प्रोफेशनल
राइट, एग्रीड, कंप्लीटली एग्रीड, बिकॉज भाई मतलब वो धंधे के बारे में सिखा रहे हैं, राइट? ये
वर्ल्ड। राइट
ये धंधा क्यों चलेगा, दैट इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज टीचिंग, एंड दैट कैन बी अप्लाइड टू एनीवेयर, इवन सेल्स एंड सीएस फॉर दैट मैटर,
करेक्ट करेक्ट
नॉट
करेक्ट
जस्ट
करेक्ट उसमें
सीएस,
लोग ही
इवन
है।
सी।
करेक्ट करेक्ट कि
हाँ,
अगर मतलब इंडियन आपने समझ में आई लोग है, अगर आप लोगों के साथ उनकी मतलब अंडरस्टैंडिंग समझ गए कि भाई इनको क्या करना है, क्या चाहिए इनको, देन यू शुड बी एबल टू गो अहेड एंड फिगर आउट एवरीथिंग।
right. And another thing, like what you mentioned, कि एक बार मेहनत चख लिया, I relate to this a lot when talking to one of my friends as well. So it's like अभी डर लगना बंद हो जाता है।
हाँ
It's
हाँ
like
हाँ
like
देख
मेहनत ही
देख
तो
लेंगे
करना
हाँ।
है। हाँ,
राइट
मेहनत ही तो करना है, कर लेंगे, क्या है? I think that वो हैबिट
राइट
बन जाता है, and that's
करेक्ट
really
करेक्ट
good like for
राइट।
anyone.
और हमें ये भी देखना चाहिए यार कि मतलब लाइक यू शुड आल्सो लुक एट वर्ल्ड अराउंड योरसेल्फ। ओके, आपके पास ये अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि आपको दिमाग की मेहनत करने का टाइम मिल रहा है, मतलब आपके पास अपॉर्चुनिटी दिमाग की मेहनत करने की अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल रही है आपको। ओके,
Right.
काफी सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको दिमाग की मेहनत करने की अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिल रही, तो उनको हाथ पैर से मेहनत करनी पड़ी, एंड दैट इज नॉट अ पोजीशन दैट यू वुड वांट टू बी इन। सो यू शुड बी आई वुड से वेरी ग्रेटफुल अबाउट व्हाट यू हैव, एंड यू शुड बी एबल टू गो अहेड एंड मेक श्योर कि अभी जो भी आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली है, आप उसका मतलब बेस्ट करो। मतलब मेहनत शुड नॉट बी अ रीजन कि आप बाद में जाके ये रिग्रेट ना करो कि यार उस समय मेहनत कर लेता तो शायद अभी कुछ होता। आज ऐसा नहीं है, आप आईटी में नहीं सिलेक्ट हुए, आज भी आपके पास 100 मौके हैं। अब आप बस वही है कि आगे जाके मौकों को मत गवाओ, बिकॉज जिस तरह मेहनत की आदत पड़ती है, वैसे रिग्रेट की भी आदत पड़ती है। वंस यू बिकम ओके विद दैट, देन यू आर ओके विद दैट।
Awesome. Yep. I think completely agreed. So I think Ankit, finally I have like I'm introducing this new segment, which is like a lightning round. I've seen a lot of famous podcasts do this, so I'm attempting this as well. So I'll throw some very quick questions at you. This is the final segment, so try to answer this in one sentence or a few words. Okay. So one product that you wish you had built.
One product that I have, okay, ideally, ChatGPT,
Hmm.
practically, Duolingo.
Like I never used Duolingo until like a few months. Okay, what a product.
Yeah.
Insane. Awesome. Like your favorite AI product right now, other than ChatGPT, Gemini, all of that.
Yeah. So, a non-traditional, like a off-league AI product that I've been using is Descript. So I've been using it for a very long period of time. I think before AI became the common thing. So Descript is this tool which can help you super fast your video creation and editing process, and it is super helpful for a solo creator like me.
Got it. It's founded by Indian founders, right? I
No,
think
it
so.
is not. I don't think it
It's
is an
Indian.
Indian founder.
Okay,
No, no.
got it.
In video, I
All right.
think is Indian.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, one founder or product leader that you admire a lot, like anyone in particular.
Yeah. So I think I've personally worked with people whom I admire. So Ashish Kashyap would be my go-to person. And the reason is very simple, not because of what he has achieved, as in he has been a, let's say, a founder of Kawai People, Redbus, PayU, IND Money, like all the
Insane
big
founder.
unicorns. Yeah. But I was able to follow a pattern in him, and that is how I learned what Amazon used to tell their PMs, which is whenever we used to create any product or feature at ID Money, he used to ask, ये बताओ इसमें customer का क्या फायदा है? And that was a thing that stuck. So in every meeting, he was not shy to repeat himself. And every time he was repeating the same, इसमें ये बताओ इसमें customer का क्या फायदा है? And then he's also a very hands-on founder. Me also being a hands-on founder, I respect that thing in the founder. कि यार ऐसा नहीं that so many people are teaching you these days कि बहुत business तो delegation होता है. No, business is not delegation, man. कुछ तो आपको करना पड़ेगा वरना you will become insane. So people who are very proud of their skills, हमें वो करना है और हम अच्छे से करना चाहते हैं. Why don't we go ahead and do this? So he's very much confident in this. So till now, like I met him last week only. So he was opening his Figma. He was trying things here and then. He was, let's say, talking with his driver कि यार ये ऐसे ऐसे कर सकते हैं. तो I really liked it कि मतलब बंदे को hands on होना, confidence होना, and still after achieving so many things out there, that is what like you see someone who has gone ahead and actually built something truly lasting.
Awesome. Okay, so like product frameworks, underrated or overrated?
Okay, so I'll tell you, for people who are beginning their product journeys, product frameworks are underrated because that gives you a framework on how to think. Because generally, if you don't have an experience, like if you don't know what you don't know, then you don't know where you want to go. So if you are using frameworks, that will at least give you a mental model to think of. So if you're a beginner in product management, up to 2-3 years experience, or an aspiring product manager, frameworks are definitely underrated. You should learn about these frameworks. That will improve your thinking abilities. But if you are someone senior, then they are definitely overrated. As soon as you become senior, if you're relying too much on frameworks, you are losing the nuances. Understand? Yeah, everyone says that ARR is a framework that will help you go ahead and understand, let's say, all the funnels. There are many businesses who don't care about retention. There are many, like, because of the nature of the business, they don't have to care about retention. Okay. Maybe if you look at very complex products where the sale is only one time, they have to focus more on referral rather on retention. Or maybe you are, let's say, going ahead and talking about some other products where right now they are not talking about monetization. So maybe the last part does not matter. So similarly, I can give you things for all the other frameworks. So if you're a senior person, frameworks are definitely overrated. Don't rely much on them. Use them to, let's say, start your thinking, but there are other variables as well. But for if you are a beginner, then frameworks are underrated. You should go ahead and learn them before you could build something on your own.
Got it. But what about in internships? Like so in
Yeah.
interviews, in interviews.
Okay, so in interviews, I would suggest you now that's a double-edged sword because there are some companies where people are expecting you to go ahead and give these frameworks, and at some companies, like people absolutely would go ahead and they will almost end the interview in their mind if they see you talking about frameworks. Okay, my suggestion is you don't have to call out a framework, which is, let's say if I go ahead, someone asks me an improvement question, I will first give some time in order to understand the question and the context and everything before jumping to the circle framework. And also, I don't have to name the circle framework. I can just tell that I'm going to understand the user context, then I'm going to understand their problem, then I'm going to prioritize and do all of this stuff. Okay. Generally, you don't have to make, let's say, the framework as your crutches. What you need to do is understand the problem really well. Try to solve it with first principles. If you find that you can retrofit a framework, you can use that, customize it, but don't, for the sake of it, don't just name the framework if you think that cannot go in your direction. Because even if you don't name the framework, person who wants the framework, they'll understand that you have used the framework, so they are happy. And if someone who does not want you to use the framework, if you're using first principles and not naming the framework, they are also happy.
Right. Awesome.
Yes. And one more thing before frameworks, that people don't actually hate frameworks or love frameworks. They hate or love your question, your answers. Generally, I've seen people that when they come out of an interview, if the interview is not bad, they talk about, let's say, the interviews was not, let's say, in their best mood. They did not like the framework. I have learned this and all. But when I go ahead and ask them what is the question that they asked, what was your response, I was able to understand that the response was very loose. So make sure that you practice enough. Like go ahead, take 10 questions. I'll attach a list in the description as well. Take questions one by one. Record yourself on Zoom. Take that transcript. Put it on ChatGPT. Ask it to rate you out of 1 of 10. Do it for 10 times. Then you are at least confident in your rating.
Got it. All right. So final question, like one book every PM should read. At least just one.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Thinking Fast and Slow. That is the book that I would recommend every PM. I would say every individual should read it. But if you want more technical advice, I'll go to one more, which is Cracking the PM Career. not the interview. So there are 2 books. One is orange, one is yellow, one is cracking the PM interview, one is cracking the PM career. You should read the PM career, but I would only suggest, let's say, if you have time, you are able to invest. Otherwise, thinking fast and slow is, I think everyone should go ahead and read that book, because in the end, product management is mostly user management and people management.
Got it. Yep. I think, Ankit, thank you so much. This was really great. I hope like the people love this podcast and was
Yeah.
able to learn so much. I personally learned a lot, and I'm able to now connect a lot of dots. So thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot. I'm sure that this is going to help at least some people out. And people, that challenge of going ahead and reaching out to 20 companies, it's open forever. You can go ahead and reach out to me, and it's my
Yep.
responsibility to go ahead and help you out there. So
Ekdam.
20 you have to go ahead and maybe reach out to 20 companies with some case studies or something that you have done for them, and then let us help you.
Awesome. I think this is great.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Cool,
Ankit,
cool.
for
Best of
coming.
luck, guys. Take care.